Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're here for Star's Galaxy of Heroes. Today we'll be breaking down how Satele Shan is definitely going to be a top 3 conquest unit. First off, we'll go over her kit, starting off with her basic double strike. Deal physical damage to target enemy twice, hence the name. Satele is taunted, deal 20% more damage, which is nice, and you also inflict buff immunity, which is another nice thing. Target enemy is marked, you deal an additional 20% more damage and inflict heal immunity. And she also gets protection up 10% stacking until the end of the battle, so helping her tank better, which is good. Next up will be Force Stun, which is also another good move. You do physical damage to target enemy and stun them for 2 turns. Steal taunts for 2 turns as well, which can't be dispelled, so annoying tank. If both Jedi Knight Revan and Ambassador Shan are allies, not only is this stun unresistible, it can't be evaded, so essentially just SLKR, which is pretty good. If the target enemy is already stunned, you remove 100% of their turn meter, which can't be resisted, so extra longer stun duration. If the target enemy is marked, all Old Republic Jedi allies gain 100% defense penetration, good for offense. And they also gain 100% offense stacking for 2 turns, so also good for offense. But also, Satele Shan has defense up and tenacity up. She gets perfect defense, which helps her tank, because I think it was 200% extra defense, which is good for 2 turns. If there are no allied galactic legend, all Jedi allies get a stack of Jedi lessons for 3 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. And all Old Republic allies also gain Fearless for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented, so good for countering Darth Revan. Next up will be Into the Fray, which is also a pretty good special move as well, which you can dispel all buffs on all enemies and deal physical damage to target enemy. So given this is worded like Bane's AoE buff dispel, it probably can be avoided with the buff dispel bar. But you also do true damage to Satele Shan's max protection to all enemies. And true damage is unavoidable, and pretty much 20% of her max protection may not sound like much until you realize that hits for over 80k, so it's still pretty good at the actual physical damage part. It also does all enemies for 2 turns and reduces their tenacity by 10% stacking to the end of the battle. This also works on GLs because there's no anti-GL clause in it, so that's always good for reducing the stats permanently. Next up is Old Republic Jedi allies get protection equal to 50% of Satele's max protection, and Old Republic attacker allies gain Jedi as well for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled or prevented, so she's pretty thick on protection already, so this is probably just going to full heal the team's protection, which is nice, and Jedi Wills is a good buff to just get. And Satele will also gain defense up and tenacity up for 2 turns, which leads back into Force Stun, giving her perfect defense, since I don't believe she gets it with any other move except this. And she also has a GSC Omnicron on the move that if enemies are not dazed at the end of this turn, lose 10% max health stacking, and Satele gains that much max protection to the end of the encounter. Now we'll go over her best part of her kit, being her unique legendary Defiance. While Satele is taunting, Satele gains protection up 20% stacking for 2 turns whenever she is damaged, so that's helping her tank better, which is nice. All enemies are immune to bonus turn meter gain. Now that's actually the most craziest part in her kit, simply due to the fact that you can slap her on pretty much any team and she'll shut down any TM related counters, which is really strong, which also means her team isn't going to be looped on defense either. Therefore she's going to definitely be very hard to get out. Also, they can assist their targeting Old Republic ally, which is good. This is like Ezra, you can assist on it, which makes them more annoying to get out. But while she has protection, her health can't drop below 100%, so this should work against Padawan Obi-Wan and, say, anyone with weak posts, so like Trench or something. But she also can't be instantly defeated, so JMK has to actually work through her. But to get through her, they have to get out Jolie, but she's survivable, so, you're playing that kind of a game with them. And the next up is whenever a marked enemy starts to turn, Satele taunts for 1 turn, so, extra way to taunt. But whenever an ally reaches 75% health, Satele taunts for 1 turn. This is also really good because this gives her some extra plug-and-play viability as well, because she'll passively taunt if someone hits 75% health, which is good. And the next up, when Satele reaches 25% health for the first time, she recovers 100% health and protection, so she gives herself a mini savior. But she also gives this mini savior to Jedi Knight Revan, so essentially you would have to work through Revan twice, which is generally not good for trying to not take damage with this team. And you'd also have to work through her twice as well, which isn't really good as well because she is actually rather thick. And she also has a GSC Omnicron down here, where whenever an Old Republic ally with less than 20% health is damaged, they equalize their health with the strongest enemy. Now normally the strongest enemy on an enemy team is typically a GL, And there's no anti-GL clause in this, so essentially you're just going to be equalizing with enemy GLs and stuff like that pretty commonly at this team, which is really annoying. But as well, if all allies are Old Republic, they gain immunity for revive immunity, which persists through the feat. So, you know, since sends Malicos at this, Jolie can still revive. We're new Mall of Stranger, Jolie can still revive. So, you know, pretty good, which is nice. And then last but not least will be her leadership, Grandmaster of the Old Republic. Her Old Republic allies have plus 50% protection and offense. Already pretty good gains right there alone. This is doubled for Old Republic Jedi allies, which, you know, is really good, because protection is how her team will be doing damage in GAC. She also has never unmarked enemy damages as an Old Republic ally. The ally recovers protection equal to the damage received at the end of their turn, so essentially if you don't break past their protection, they're just going to full heal their protection again, which is pretty nice. And next up, she has while Satele Shan. Whenever an Old Republic ally is damaged, the ally gains high morale for 3 turns, so I believe high morale is like a 25% increase to speed, health, defense, and protection? I think that's it. Which, you know, is nice for extra speed and survivability. And then next up we have whenever an Old Republic ally attacks at 10, they reduce their cooldowns by 1. If the target enemy is marked, reduce their cooldowns by 2. So this team's going to be spamming specials in a similar vein to Zoe's team, which is going to be pretty good, especially since, you know, you have Revan with his assist, which is nice, and her true damage move, which is also nice. And then we also have whenever an enemy resists a debuff from Old Republic allies, inflict tenacity down on them for 2 turns, which, you know, is good for helping debuffs take longer term, and it's also just not good to have that in general. There's also whenever an enemy is inflicted with a debuff from Old Republic allies, also inflicts speed down on them for 2 turns, which, you know, is not good for enemy teams because they already can't get TM, so now they're also 25% faster. That isn't going to help. But when Old Republic allies have Fearless, they are immune to doubt, so this means no, like, constant fear from, like, a Malgus. And then we also have Old Republic Jedi allies of Legendary Battle Meditation are immune to daze. Then whenever an Old Republic Jedi ally ends a turn, and if no other allies have Legendary Battle Meditation, allied Satele Shan takes a bonus turn. Which from what I hear is actually bugged, because Satele Shan, she's by herself, will try and search for allies and just constantly keep taking bonus turns. So essentially, that will probably be fixed by the time she comes out. And then now we get into the GAC Omnicron part of this move, which is actually solidly wordy. Where whenever an Old Republic Jedi ally attacks out 10, they deal bonus damage, no, true damage, based on Satele's max protection. Now this isn't like JML, which is base max, like based max protection, with base protection. Since this also works for rampant protection, so this is going to increase over time, unlike JML's would. Also, if all allies are Old Republic, probably won't be happening as much. But, you know, some people might throw Juhani in here, but all allies are immune to stun. They take reduced damage from percentage health damage effects, which is nice. And at the start of the battle, they gain Fearless and instant defeat immunity for 2 turns. This isn't really as good, but it isn't exactly bad either, since, you know, having access to Fearless means off Revan and stuff like that. It's a lot more harder to get through this, but there's all the other people that can help him with that, as we're showcase. And instant defeat immunity is nice. For, you know, if someone says Strand Can, there's an offense, they're probably going to hold off on the instant kill until they can get Jolie out. But at the same time, you know, if Revan marks down Kat and all this damage comes her way, she's going to perish, as we're going to go over. Okay, now we're done with that, let's go over how much max protection she should wind up having. Which, you know, pre-leadership kicking in, 247k, which, you know, is pretty alright for a tank. But now with leadership kicking in, because, you know, she doubles her protection, 494k. Now, as we just said, she does true damage based on her max protection when, you know, Old Republic allies attack out of 10. Essentially, if anyone gets hit with it, it's like getting hit with like a whirlwind plus. You know, like a whirlwind's like 400k damage. It's like an extra 90k paired with the actual unit that's attacking. They're over 500k damage. And it's like, that's normally enough to delete like a GL. So pretty much any unit that isn't like Night Sister Zombie having this come their way is just gonna get deleted. Especially if it's like from Revan's Mass Assist, since, you know, he calls in multiple Jedi. That could easily go over like 1,000,000 damage. So no unit is gonna tank that. And these are 5 GLs that they should 100% beat from, you know, from the looks of it. Like, maybe Wei's going to be a bit much harder, because, she does have cheese. But, pretty much, Lord Vader is going to die from one weapon mass assist. He's eating still over 300k damage from each assist. And, from one of my Anakin videos, if Anakin hits him for 500k on his bonus turn, he can nearly put him on death's door normally. So yeah, he's just dead. Leia kind of follows a similar suit. She does have the attacks out of turn do less damage, but she's most certainly still a victim of it, because, there's multiple assists on the team. Like, 5 assists on her, she's gonna be gone. Rey does have her cheese as well, but pretty much what you can do is you can just get Rey immediately in the yellow. Just assist on Ben, Ben's gone. And then, Rey's gonna take a second turn, chuck a whirlwind at Satele. 494k is more than enough to eat a Rey whirlwind. After she eats the whirlwind, you just assist on Rey again. The same if Ben's not back. Ben might be back. But then, you just get out Rey, and probably do that within like the first 30 seconds, which is nice. Jedi Knight Revan was also a soft counter to GL Ahsoka. With all this extra damage coming their way, they're just gonna smash her right on out. Pirate King Hondo Anaka follows a similar suit. Unless, OG Hondo might lock up like Revan, but wouldn't be nice. But at the same time, Vane's not eating like a Bastila assist or Jolie calling someone to assist. So essentially, it's just a matter of how can they do anything to really stop him in time, which I highly doubt. And especially thanks to all the team's saviors and all the buffs means that captives are gonna drop solidly quick. So yeah, definitely should be a pretty easy counter for them. But this is what the main shell is going to look like right here. You can throw in Juhani in here. She isn't a bad option because, you get the extra all Old Republic ally stuff, which is pretty nice. But, this is just going to be the main 4 right here. With these are some good fifths that I theory crafted nicely enough. Ezra, self-explanatory, extra tank. He has an exile, he can get bonus 10. It's just really a nuisance, which is nice. Cal is also another thing, which would help them not get Malgus, because Cal anti-fear. Cal can't be feared himself. He can pass bonus turns, get an insta-kill out, stuff like that, which is always nice, as well as control enemy offense. Barris is also another good option, assuming you don't always keep her with Rey. But basically, she just gives the team extra heals, which is nice, some solid cleansing too. Hermit Yoda is another good option. He has Jedi Lessons, which is nice, helps the team with extra offense and defense. Gives him a little extra TM from his assist, and some extra protection to help from the cavalry, wouldn't hurt the team. Huyang is actually another very nifty option with this team, thanks to the fact that with lightsaber architecture being the absolute beast of a unique that it is, because gives spec to allies 55% offense. That's already insane enough, but Jedi allies also gain 21% max protection, which Satele Shan converts into damage. And when I did the math, if you have her modded perfectly as those numbers were that I showcased, she should be each assist should be 580 something K damage, so an extra good amount of damage, which is nice. But Huyang isn't just a stat stick, she also has one of the better assists in the game. It just calls all light side allies to assist. So essentially you got 4 Old Republic allies on the team. That is we'll go just 500k. That is 2 million damage coming at any unit's way. That's going to be decreased by 30% damage thanks to GL's unique. Over 1 million damage coming their way. So essentially, this is going to just delete everything in the game, which is pretty nice. And the next up, we have the all-white fifth. So, Shorty, if you can make a Jolie with Revan the weakest, you got to play around there. Little sneaky game, which is nice. Jolie's going to consistently revive. She's also Old Republic, which is also nice, so that works with the Old Republic clause in her kit. It could also mean that they gain immunity to revive immunity, whatever it was again. Which means that Jolie, if he is the weakest, you're going to have to deal with him constantly reviving, which is never fun until you get out Shorty. But you're going to have to get through the tank first. Jedi Knight Luke is another option. He's alright, as this would D10 has extra damage, has a stat pull move, also stuns the enemy. It's just a nice unit. He's not the best, but he isn't the worst. Next up will be General Skywalker. You know, he's just similar to Jedi Knight Luke, just extra damage, jacks up enemy cooldowns. It's just nice to have. Grandmaster Yoda is just a worse General Skywalker. You know, passes some buffs around, does some damage. That's really about it. And then Cal Kestis, nicely enough, functions similar to Barris, except he'll give protection recovery to the team. He also has ways of slowing the enemy team down and giving the team speed up, which is nice. And you know, with his persistence unique, he can give the team TM when he gets 30 stacks and provide some debilitating debuffs for the enemy team, which is also nice. And then for Satele Shan's plug and play nicely, you can slap her on any of these teams. Like, there's more teams you can slap her on. You know, you slap her on a raid team, she'll function really well. You know, you can't send Star Killer with Palpatine and Mara Jade because no TM equals not much of a loop. Malakos gets harder because, you know, Maul's Frenzy doesn't give him TM, so, you know, you don't really just smash out the raid team with them. So, you know, it makes that a little bit harder. Zoe Resistance also wouldn't stand a chance because, you know, they rely a lot on TM and they don't get that here. Basically, you know, they just shut down a bunch of TM stuff for Rey, which is mainly just most of the things people would send at her. JML is also in a similar situation to Rey, just not as good. Because, you know, JML just isn't nearly as good as Rey, but, you know, he isn't a bad option, you know. If you can force someone to send a Trey or a Bane at your Jedi Master Luke, that's still a good trade-off, kind of. Next up is GL Ahsoka. You will kind of cook some of Ahsoka's unique, such as Days unique, but at the same time, you can't loop her team anymore, so you gotta kind of deal with what they're doing, which is really not good at all. Next up is Leia. You know, you can't send Grievous, Zoe, Moffle, the Django team that I brought up, I think like yesterday or the day before then. Basically, just any TM team just gets shut down against Leia, which makes it a lot more harder. It would probably make people have to send a GL at her with Bane more consistently. Although Bane might actually have a problem as well, because, you know, that one move that he does with the stick, he doesn't get 50% TM, and he does turn back enemy TM though, which, you know, if they're quicker than him, they're just going to take turns, which could turn into a problem for him. And he probably still will beat it, but, you know, you still have to send it here instead of at Sarah and SOK out Dark Ray, which is not good. Jedi Knight Luke is also a nice addition, because, you know, you slap her in the team. Now you can't just loop Luke's team, which is what you'd normally do. Luke's gonna take a turn. He's gonna slow your team down drastically, which is never good, because you can't get TM to really make up for that. And they're just gonna loop you at some point, which is, you know, not good in general. And then nicely enough, you know, OG Bad Batch technically could be lifted with it, because, you know, they pull back TM consistently, they can lock you in with stuns and like that. Here, there's the fact that now you can't loop them, which is what a lot of people normally do for them. You know, they can become a threat, which is nice, because she's lifting a lot of teams. And that will be it for today, guys. Till next time.